Well, there is everything wrong with Pakistan's Afghan policy. We've been apologetic. We've been their, main advocates for the Afghan Taliban. Been supporting them throughout since the American invasion. The Afghan Taliban, used Pakistan as a sanctuary. And without Pakistan being their sanctuary, I don't know, if they would have pulled this feat off by, pressuring the Americans to leave Afghanistan and toppling the Afghan government. So, if there was a degree of optimism here in Pakistan when the Afghan Taliban took, I think this wasn't misplaced. Because, there were people, within the establishment who actually believed that the Afghan Taliban would take care of the TTP for Pakistan. 2022 was supposed to be the year when, the TTP, Pakistan actually thought that, they would be able to wrap it up through negotiations or through kinetic operations. It didn't happen because the Afghan Taliban, other than, trying to facilitate the talks between Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban or the TTP, didn't do much in exerting pressure or reining them in. And I think, with more attacks and the scale of the attacks growing with every passing day, there will be more pressure, on the Afghan Taliban. Pakistan needs to speak to the Afghan Taliban. They need to, be engaged and told in clear terms that this cannot go on. With the TTP there, and the Afghan Taliban, beyond giving lip service, is not doing much or anything. I think, I'm not saying that we do not have options, when it comes to exerting pressure on the Afghan Taliban, but whether we are willing to apply those pressure tactics or the tools that we have to if not persuade the Afghan Taliban to rethink, their relationship with the TTP. It's one thing having them on their soil because they cannot come to Pakistan, for multiple reasons. But allowing them to carry out attacks, plan and execute attacks from Afghanistan is a different thing altogether. And at some point, I think we Pakistanis would need to speak openly about this. I think because it's too embarrassing, because Pakistan has long been seen as an ally, friend, and I think it's just really awkward now to be admitting publicly that the Afghan Taliban are harboring some of the deadliest people on its soil. That's one. And the other thing is probably for our own security reasons, because antagonizing the Afghan Taliban would mean more security challenges for Pakistan now. They can unleash, or create a lot of problems for Pakistan. So that probably would be the reason why Pakistan, or the policymakers must be calibrating at the moment. What can or cannot they do to in terms of engaging with the Afghan Taliban. The policy to engage with the TTP was initiated when he was in power, and the policy had its government's sanction. That was the time when the decision was made to release two top TTP commanders as part of the negotiation, confidence building measures. And Imran's policy has always been of negotiations, less emphasis on military action. But the thing is, the National Security Committee or the Parliamentary Committee on National Security had representation from all political parties. And when this was being discussed, they should have, openly and candidly and honestly questioned the rationale behind engaging with the TTP. We've been talking about the so-called red lines, but we knew that, some of the demands, the TTP was putting up would not be acceptable to Pakistan. And we knew all along, long before even the negotiation had started, that that the TTP would never disarm, that the TTP would never want to disband even. So if we knew all these things, I think we were just chasing rainbows and hoping that the TTP somehow, or the Afghan Taliban, would somehow persuade the TTP to disband and disarm and return to the country. And we, somehow presumed when they return, whenever they return, people would accept them wholeheartedly, which wasn't the case. And we have seen public reaction in Swat and other places, in Lucky Maurat and other places. People were not willing to welcome them back because, people have blood on their hand. They've killed people, and in our society, blood feuds run for generations. So I think, we had a very simplistic view of the negotiations. It was very much complicated than many people in Rawalpindi thought it was. But I think it's time for a very honest discussion on this issue, because it has internal implications and it has external implications for Pakistan.